So now that we understand how to build tiling geometry within Zbrush, we can look at something a bit more complex. This is a brick material that I had created. And you can see we have our identical bricks on opposite ends with our tiling plane that's respecting our tiling. When we look at our projection plane, we can see that it is completely occupied and won't have any seam issues. What we need to do now is turn this into some bakeable objects. I like to use the bakers within Substance Designer because I just find them easier and they give better results. It is possible to do it within ZBrush, but I find the Substance Designer ones are so good. That's what I've been using recently, so I'm going to show you the workflow for that. Let's start by hiding the sculpt plane. And now we just have our bricks visible. You're definitely going to want to save a copy before you do anything here because you're going to collapse this whole mesh and you could lose your sculpting information, subdivision levels, and all these things that could be helpful or you might need for revisions in the future. So the first thing to do, I'm going to save a version of it called collapsed. All right, when that's done saving, and then go into Subtool Master. And the first thing we want to do is set all high res visible. That goes through every single subtool and sets it to the maximum subdivision level. You wouldn't want to lose any of your sculpt details accidentally because one of your tools was at a lower subdivision level while you were working. Now that we've gone through all that, we can use Subtool Master again to merge. This kind of thing can take a lot of memory and CPU power. So if you have other applications running, it's a good idea to shut them off. Make sure your RAM is pretty freed up. And once again, make sure you have a save of this in case it crashes. In the case you do get a crash, you're probably just trying to attach too much geometry at once. So you can do it in smaller chunks. For instance, if this was going to fail and crash, we could do half the bricks at a time. And then once those two objects are attached, we could attach them together pretty easily. So I have enough RAM that this one hasn't caused me any problems. But if you do run into that issue on your own sculpts, that's a potential solution. So we're going to go merge. We're going to merge and delete extra subtools because I already have a backup and I don't want to have to deal with those subtools in my scene anymore. There is a big warning that deletion cannot be undone, so keep that in mind. That process can take a while, but once it's finished, you'll see we have 3 tools here. Turn off the projection plane again. Something else I want to do to export out of ZBrush is a color map, and I'm basically going to use that for masking. So if we wanted to separate the color of the brick from the color of the grout, a simple black and white map would help with that in Substance Designer. The other strength of that is just having that black and white map can work with the flood fill nodes, which is going to give you all kinds of control in Substance Designer of your initial pattern. The easiest way to do this is to bake some vertex colors into the objects. I'm going to go ahead and hide the sculpt plane and go straight to the bricks. I'm going to choose the flat color material because it makes it obvious. Keep in mind that until you actually fill your objects with color, it's just a preview. So I'm going to set them to white, go up to color, make sure mRGB for material and color channels are turned on, and fill the object. You'll notice now when I pull the slider, the color doesn't change anymore, and that's because those vertices are actually baked with the white color that we put on the brick. If I turn on my sculpt plane and hide my bricks, we're going to see white, but we actually want these to be black. Choose flat color, choose black, color, fill object. Something I just realized, I'm like, why isn't this solid black? I was using a surface noise preview. And what that does is that allows me to have almost a bump map on top of my geometry. I decided on the grout that I wanted to do the details in Substance Designer as opposed to sculpting them. So I just have the big form sculpted in here, but I did put a surface noise in to try and help me visualize what I was going to do. If you happen to be doing something similar, that will make your result look weird. But the vertex information is correct. Now that we have our color information baked in, we can collapse the sculpt plane and the brick plane. So that we'll keep the projection plane hidden. And in this case, we can just do a merge down. Now that we have our two objects that we need for baking, we're in good shape. We can save our collapse file again. And then start exporting. I'm going to export an OBJ of the sculpt plane. And it's going to be quite large because it does have almost 40 million polygons. That may take a while. The next thing we need to export is the projection plane. All right, with that done, we can move over to Substance Designer.